Alright guys, so this has been a video I've been wanting to do for a while. I'm going to be talking about the extreme 100-year view on the future of sports stadiums in North America. And what had actually perked my interest in this is an article from 2015. It says, "Go inside the totally reimagined NFL stadium of tomorrow." And you can see the image of the stadium. This is a mock of what people expect an NFL stadium to be looking like in maybe the year 2070, 2080. This is what I consider the post-SoFi era. Of course, you guys know SoFi Stadium, the massive $5 billion investment into LA. And it's like, what comes after that? Well, I think it's a total downsize with brand new technology. And when you look at the NFL stadiums in the future and what's going on right now with the MLB, the capacities are dropping, the social spaces are on the rise, and people are getting more and more soft in the Northeast to where everyone, you've got NFL fans, MLB fans, they all want roofs. And they want roofs because we as human species are getting softer, which is just part of our evolution. That's what's going to happen. As you get better technology, as you get more advancements, you're going to get softer because things in life become easier. Society advancements, technology around you, it all makes your life easier. You don't want to go stand in 25-degree weather. You've got people in Cleveland who are pissed the Browns aren't putting a roof on their stadium. I always see people complain in New York during the summer, why don't the Yankees have a retractable roof? It's so ridiculous. So people are kind of moving to the point where they're sick of standing out in the cold. They're sick of dealing with the elements. The only thing I would change there's actually a few things I would change when looking at this. Number one, when it comes to going way into the future, there seems to be this obsession with greenery. And what I mean by that, when you look at this, you see all the grass in the surrounding areas. I'm not sure if that's just the general vibe or if that's part of the whole 15-minute city proposal, which is super scary, by the way. But I think we're really overestimating this whole idea of, oh, we're going to have green roofs, everything's going to be green. I don't see that happening. I don't really see the purpose of it. It doesn't look good. It doesn't really benefit anything. Having a green roof doesn't do anything. I understand if you want to put it in there to kind of signify it's the future. But overall, the big thing to note when it comes to looking at this, the limited capacity. This is a potential future NFL stadium with the capacity of 25,000 people. Now, why does that make sense? Well, it makes sense for a number of reasons, and I'm actually going to drop a huge prediction that I don't think anyone's talked about on what VR is going to do to watching sporting events, because it's crazy on what's going to happen there. But think about it. 25,000 capacity in the year 2070 for most NFL stadiums. They're going to be completely customized. They're all going to be advanced. The ticket prices are going to be ridiculous because the supply is going to be so low. We have stadiums right now seating 60,000, 70,000, AT&T Stadium at 80,000. We've got college stadiums at 100K selling out every single week. What happens when you reduce that to 25 or 30,000? Why would the NFL do it? Well, think about this for a second. This is what I think is going to happen. Number one, going to the game is going to be it's going to be for rich people, right? It's going to be the tickets are going to be priced out. The lowest ticket, and this is not factoring into inflation because I don't know what's going to happen to inflation in the year 2070. These tickets could be $10,000. But if we don't factor in inflation, you're looking at all these tickets costing roughly, depending on the team, $1,000, $2,000. You know, if you're limiting the capacity to like 20 or 25,000. But this is the big thing when it comes to sports in the future. I personally think the VR experience is going to replace the TV when it comes to watching sporting events, and these stadiums are going to be designed. Now listen, the other thing that's important to note, we don't even know if the NFL is going to exist in 2070. That is also another thing we'll have to see. But just in general, how sports are going to work, like the NFL, for example, they're going to sell some type of package to you. You're going to have VR goggles, and they're going to install, and they're really going to custom make these stadiums based around cameras on the sideline that rotate and follow what's going on to the game, and you'll put your VR goggles on. The NFL will sell you $1,000 package of your favorite team that you can watch from the sideline, and it'll be like you're at the game, and it'll have the full 360 view, so when you have your goggles on and you look to the right, technically you're in full control because it's a full camera. It's the entire view. Right, so you can look to the right, you can see what's going on, look to the left, the camera is moving and following the action on the sideline. I'm guessing these will all be custom built into the stadiums, and for most people, there's really no reason to go to the game, deal with the traffic, deal with all the crap, buy all the stuff when you can watch it from your living room, and you can connect with other people and watch it with them, that have the VR goggles in the same experience. See, everyone talks about and makes fun of Google. Oh, their Google glasses didn't work. Zuckerberg's dumb. His Meta sucks. No, this is what happens with innovation. It's a bumpy road. It's not a straight path up. You're going to have things that fail. Inevitably, VR will succeed. Yes, VR is anti-human. Yes, the goggles are anti-human, but it's inevitable. We have to adapt to it. And that's what I think the future is when it comes to watching sports. Mainly, the stadium. The only other thing I'll say, I don't see there being a single stadium being built without a roof in the future. Now, I'm not talking about the immediate future. You've got plans, the Royals Stadium in 2026, you've got the Bills in 2020, whenever it is, 2026, 2027, those are built as open stadiums without roofs, but as we continue to get softer and softer as a society, if you have the choice of going to an NFL game, where there's no roof, it's an open stadium, but it's 85 degrees and the sun is beating down on you, or you could go to SoFi Stadium, which has a roof, or Allegiant, and it's 75 degrees and you're shielded from the rays of the sun, you're always going to choose SoFi, or at least the vast majority of people, they want things easier. That's just the reality of how we are built. So I think the future is some type of VR experience where they will have cameras, really extremely HD, super in-depth, futuristic cameras on the sideline that give you a full view of everything, that follow the action, and it's like you just put your goggles on, you put the glasses on, and you basically get the same exact experience. Now, taking a look at this article, you can see it says a lot of things that I had already talked about. Don't expect 80,000 seat mega stadiums. Well, listen, I'm not sure we're going to see an 80,000 seat stadium in America, maybe ever, honestly, unless a college team builds something. I know the Bills' new stadium is 62,000 seats. The Titans' new stadium is 60,000 seats. The Vegas possible stadium would be around 35,000 seats. Everything is getting smaller. The idea of a single-purpose NFL building is already starting to erode, and this was back in 2015. The venue of the future will hit more than one need in a city. Could the building serve as dual purpose? See, I'm not going to get into this whole thing with dual purpose. I'm not. That's not where I want to steer this conversation. I more want to see in the house. Okay, this is what I want to talk about. There will be seats. There will always be seats. There just won't be as many. Yes, the stadium sizes will shrink to fit within urban. See, like this whole thing with these, like, guys, I just can't do the whole thing where we should all live in cities. I really can't do it. And this article is like trying to force us, oh yeah, the stadium is going to shrink. No, the reason the stadium is going to shrink is because of technology. It's not because of some city that we're going to live in. I know people want to live in cities. I'm just not about living in cities. I need land. Okay? We want to move away from the cities realistically because they're absolute messes right now. We'll come to expect something like 30,000 lower bowl seats. Yes, I do agree with that. I think it'll be around 25 to 30,000, and the tickets are going to be extremely expensive if the NFL, as we know it, continues to exist. There's speculation. What's happening? Is there going to be more studies about concussions? Is there a point to continuing this? I think there is, absolutely. Maybe it evolves into something else. But when you've got this much money on the line, the incentive is just so much greater than dealing with, possible brain injuries in your 50s and your 60s. These players are going to really, you've got NFL players saying, look, I have to take this risk. I can either make $5 million a year or what are these players going to do? They have no resume. They'd have to try and work normal jobs and make 1/100th in salary. 100% you would rather risk it and possible deal with a head injury. So that's why I think the NFL will continue to exist. But that upper bowl, it won't be anything like it is now. I think upper decks are going to go extinct. That's my prediction. In the very far future, I don't know when it exactly happens. Maybe we get big advancements in meta, in the VR experience by 2030 or 2040. You would have to think it's going to come relatively soon. If Zuckerberg is investing all this money into it, how does that affect viewing sports and the overall experience? I think most of it's going to be VR. The stadiums are going to be built to, in a custom design for the cameras to capture the game as if you were there. When you put on your goggles, they're going to sell you a subscription, $1,000 a year, whatever it ends up being. It'll be cheaper than going to 10 NFL games, paying for parking, standing in lines, everything. It all becomes easier. That's the future of society just in general, and that's why these stadiums are probably going to be downsized. It is funny, when we always think about the future, we think about things being better, but with stadiums, I think it's a dark future. I think it's all technology, and you can see some of the crazy futuristic stadium designs. This, to me, is like the equivalent of flying cars in the 1950s. So if you ask somebody in the 1950s, by the year 2000, what would we have? We're going to have flying cars. We're going to be on the moon. We're going to be colonizing other planets. Of course, none of that happened. But these are crazy stadiums that I just don't think there's a need for them. What purpose? It is. They're very cool to look at. There's just no need. They're like island stadium designs. They're stadiums of the far future, but they're going to cost you billions and billions and billions of dollars, when in reality, people would rather just get like a crazy good VR experiment and have all of that money that you would be investing into the stadium, invest it into technology to allow people to experience what's actually happening at the game when you're at home. That's what I think the future is overall, and there will be a few, in my estimation, super stadiums that do exist. This is what I think is going to happen to the NFL. I think eventually there's going to be a single stadium that hosts the Super Bowl every year. It's probably going to be a $4 or $5 billion stadium. Maybe it ends up being SoFi. But as we move to kind of downsize, the NFL is going to want to keep a few super stadiums to host their massive events. And then they sell the VR package if you want to watch the Super Bowl in person, but at home through the goggles. It's an extra $300 or something like that, and they do it like that. That would be my expectation. And then, of course, you can pay, when you're watching the Super Bowl through your goggles, you can pay for no ads, or else they'll show ads. That's how they make money. And of course, they're going to be in bed with whoever is producing this VR experience through whatever system it is, whether it's Meta. I don't know what it ends up being, but I'm just saying everything's going to end up going, in my opinion, VR. And it is completely anti-human, but it is the reality of the situation. This is what human innovation is. And there's just going to be like 3 or 4 super stadiums, and everyone else is going to have a downsized stadium that seats like 25 or 30,000 people. I don't know what's going to happen to the MLB. The MLB is already downsizing significantly. At this point, all of their stadiums seems like they're going to be like 30,000 seats, maybe 35,000 at the most, and basically 5,000 of those seats are going to be standing rooms / social spaces / bars. So the MLB maybe will be a little bit behind in terms of technology in comparison to the NFL. That's normally how it works. But that is just my prediction when it comes to the VR experience through potential, advancements with camera technology, watching a game while you're at your house, but putting on the goggles and it's like you're really there. I think that's the future. I think the stadiums get downsized significantly way into the future in a post SoFi Stadium world in like 2075, 2080, assuming that the NFL even exists by then. But we will have to see what ends up happening, guys. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.